Welcome to Book Cover Court.
With Judge John Wesley Huff.
Today we are back to the displays of Barnes & Noble. This cover was super interesting. The God of the Woods by Liz Zamore. I love the use of color here, the different shades of green that contrast so beautifully with this sort of lurid drip of pink. I really, really love what they're doing here. It's very intriguing. I'm a little bit unsure about the varying widths of the typeface, depending on the letter form. I wasn't sure I liked it first, but it's growing on me. I think I'm liking it more the more I look at it. This next book I thought was gorgeous, just beautiful. There's a lasso, it's encircling this eye, the flowers, the border, the typeface, pretty much perfect. This next book I found so intriguing because it takes a format that I don't usually like, which are these cartoony people in a vacation setting. But it takes that general idea and does it so beautifully. The illustration style, in particular, does lean towards that kind of cartoony look that's so popular, but there's just enough grit and interesting stuff going on there, style wise, to really make it set out. And I really love the use of color here for the typeface, the way the typeface works. This one is very successful for me and kind of a surprise because I usually do not particularly care for this style of cover. This next one I really loved as well. The Husbands. I didn't know anything about this when I decided to take a look at it. What really caught my eye here was the way that they use the typeface in a really interesting way. You just get a sense of something interesting and mysterious happening here with this attic door, and I really love the use of color here. And then I went and read the synopsis of it, and I was so intrigued. Like, this just seems like a very interesting idea for a book, and I might have to pick this up at some point. Now, usually in my effort to try to inject a little bit of randomness to my selections, I don't focus on books that aren't showing. But this one so intrigued me just from the spine. And when I pulled it out, I just kind of fell in love with this cover. The etchwork, the artwork there at the top is really just beautifully done, very intriguing. I love the color usage here. It's very sophisticated to me, as is the typeface. It's very evocative. I really, really enjoyed this cover, and it made me want to know more about this book. Now, admittedly, this next one caught my eye because it has the word Grove in it, and my horror book, In the Dark of the Grove, has Grove in it, obviously. And I was just very intrigued because even the color treatment is a little similar to my book. I mean, it's obviously very, very different, but there are things done here, especially with the variance of color, just things I was trying to achieve with my book, but just never seemed to get quite right. And so I just was really riveted by this. I really love the sort of smeary effect and the color and the typeface of everything. To me, this is a home run. It's very evocative. I really want to know about more about this book too. This is the problem about doing these because I'm just going to end up winning more books. But this next one really, really intrigued me. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like this. The illustration is very cool. I love the color usage here, the style of it. Just on its own, it's intriguing. It has a lot of depth. And then the placement of the typeface of the title itself in amongst this neighborhood, brilliant. This I just think is a kind of a wow for me. I really love this book design. This next one for me, the biggest success of it, I think, is the color. I think the design itself is intriguing, and I like the way that they've reversed out of this white. I think it really works well. But I think the use of these very desert colors, this sort of rust and burnt umber and topaz and light green. Like, it's just beautiful. The color usage here really gives you a lot of the feeling of this book cover, and I think it's really great. Keyholes sure are having a moment. This is another one that's really, really successful for me. It helps that blue and gold is one of my favorite combinations to see, especially if the tones are as well done as this one is. The typeface is also very evocative, very interesting. It fits the tone perfectly. I found this a very intriguing cover. I, of course, had to take a trip to the fantasy section, and I saw The Dead Cattail Assassins by P. Julie Clark. I think this cover is gorgeous. What a beautiful, beautiful cover. I was such a fan of Ring Shout, and that had an amazing cover. So P. Julie Clark's doing something right here with, or his publisher and design team is. Yeah, I'm really loving the look of this. And I actually hadn't picked this up yet, so this one's coming home with me. Then here's a book that I saw online but hadn't seen in person yet, Dungeon Crawler Carl. I have no idea what this book is going to be like. Definitely seems like more of a humorous spin on things, but I love, love, love this cover. It's so great. The color choices are perfect. The fact that it's creating this sort of creature and presumably Carl and his cat are uh, captured in the creature's maw, and the eyeball and the A. It's brilliant. It's very striking. I am definitely going to check this book out at some point and keep my eyes open and ears open for reviews because I'm very intrigued. And then a little bonus surprise. I did not know this was coming out, but there's a new illustrated edition of Mythos by Stephen Fry. I've been wanting to read this book for a very long time, and I'm so intrigued by this new illustrated edition. Like this cover is kind of wild, but I'm loving it. Like the old cover that you can see just below it is great already, just really great design. But yeah, I might have to go for this illustrated edition. It was wrapped up, so I didn't get a chance to look in it, but I definitely am going to check it out because I have been dragging my feet buying Mythos. I've been wanting it for a long time, and I think it's time to get it. But like I said, this old cover still is really fantastic, but I love an illustrated book, so yeah, very exciting. This was a great trip to Barnes and Noble, and I found a lot of books that I'm actually very excited about from a design perspective, and actually that I might want to read very soon.